Henry Cavill's Superman has flown his final flight, and Warner Brothers somehow managed to celebrate by accident. Here's how. It was a whirlwind end of 2022 for DC fans, as many changes happened in a relatively short period of time. Black Adam hit theaters after well over a decade in development hell, only to kind of crash and burn at the box office. Dwayne Johnson tried to paint a rosy picture of the movie's numbers, but it did little to help reality. As such, his plan to bring back Henry Cavill as Superman didn't last very long, with DC Studios co-heads James Gunn and Peter Safran deciding to move on with a new, younger Superman. As it just so happens, Warner Brothers has utilized a poorly timed sales tactic that rubs a little salt in the wound for both Black Adam and Cavill Superman. Currently, a Black Adam and Man of Steel movie combo pack can be purchased via a variety of digital retailers. So both the beginning of the former DCEU and the movie that put the last nail in its coffin are being sold together. The worst part? It initially went on sale the day after Gunn announced that he was writing a new Superman movie without Cavill. Talk about poor timing. Now, in fairness to the brass at WB, it's not as though they had any idea these two events would converge like they did. The combo pack was probably planned for quite some time, and the on-sale date has surely been set in stone for a while. There is no way they could have known Gunn would make the announcement when he did. It was just cosmically unfortunate. Fans can argue for years about the merits and flaws of the movies that featured Henry Cavill as Superman, and segments of the internet have been doing just that for years. But it certainly felt like nobody was rooting against Cavill in the role. The man looks like he was born to play Kal-El, and it's a real shame things worked out as they did. That being the case, this might actually make for a pretty fascinating double feature. Zack Snyder's Man of Steel has been divisive ever since it was released, but it nevertheless showed fans the promise of Cavill's take on the character. Yet his tenure was kneecapped by the unfortunate rollouts of both Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. Due to Dwayne Johnson's persistence, Cavill got the chance to suit back up for a post-credits scene in Black Adam that teed up the ball for much more to come.
Black Adam. We should talk.
Black Adam's final moments promised a bright, new future for Superman, and yet this is a scene that will ultimately amount to nothing in the end, in favor of a wide reboot of the DC Universe. As it turns out, Dwayne Johnson had a few thoughts about how the future of the DC Universe should look, and unsurprisingly, they largely revolved around both Black Adam and Henry Cavill Superman. Recently, Variety reports that Johnson actually met with Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav about his vision for the future of the DCU. While the finer details haven't come to light, The Rock's idea was to produce multiple films within the Black Adam and Superman franchises that would culminate in a fight between these two powerful characters. Yes, before Gunn and Safran took over DC Studios, it appears as though Johnson and some of his team were trying to take the helm of the DC Universe.
Force is always necessary.
The problem is that he went around too many people to try and get it done, which rubbed several WB execs the wrong way. More crucially, Black Adam didn't perform well enough to justify any of these lofty plans. However, it's easy to see why Johnson would want Cavill back, as it's easier to execute a big plan if an A-list character is in the mix. For better or for worse, we're not going to see these two duke it out on the big screen. At least, not anytime soon.